Yeah, thank you. Our recording's in progress. Okay. It is so great to see you. And I like now we get to see everyone's Zoom boxes. Well, we get to feel that sense of community, which is what today is all about. This is actually my first drawing together too. So I'm excited about this. As Hebrew said, we do this all the time. Again, this is my first one. So if you like it, there's more like this. But if you don't like this, they're not like this usually. I've never done this before. Um, yeah, my name is Ben Schwartz. I am a cartoonist. I have a medical degree for some reason. So that's my graphic and medicine bona fides. Today, I thought for our abbreviated drawing together, we could do something that's in my wheelhouse. We're going to draw gag cartoons, single panel cartoons like the kind in the New Yorker. I'll show you an example. I will share my screen. So like this is one of mine, two polar bears saying, "Oh man, that's never coming out." I know it's hysterical. It's so funny. We're going to do stuff like this today. Why? So again, because this is what I do. So I teach what I know. But also we have not much time today for a drawing together. And this is a short form comic format. This is a story contained in a single panel. You have to be very efficient when you're telling a story in the gag cartooning format because you only have one image and you have a line, maybe two sentences worth of text. Um, you got to really think through how you're going to play off those elements. Um, One of the things that I really like about the form and why I think that there's, it's a fun creative challenge for anyone to experiment with this is because it does challenge you in two ways. So because of that form, it's very restrictive. Um, you really have to put in a lot of thought in the planning of what you want to say in your cartoon, how you're going to distribute information across the visuals versus across the caption. How are you going to try to set up, the person, place, the dynamics, the relationship, a setup and a punchline all in this one contained box. So, the restrictive aspect is one great challenge, but then the other great challenge is how open it is because a gag cartoon can be about absolutely anything. I can do a gag cartoon about, music. I won't bother reading these out loud. You can do one about politics, obliquely or directly. You can do one about any dumb thing you want to do. I like drawing sharks, so I drew this. Um, that's really fun that you can choose any subject, but it's also really intimidating because where do you even start? So I'll give you just a couple of secrets in terms of one way I approach that challenge. First secret to tell a good gag cartoon is you don't need to be a good artist. You don't need to be a good illustrator. Gag cartooning, like a lot of cartooning actually, is less about nice illustration and more about communicating an idea, that communication. So as long as it is clear or clear enough even, what you're trying to get across. Don't worry if it looks, if that's really what a shark looks like, if the perspective is right, any of that. You don't have to worry about that. Um, the other secret, again, a secret to a lot of forms of art and cartooning, is empathy. It is really tapping into your own empathy, thinking through when you're coming up with ideas, putting yourself in the perspective of other people, other objects, other things. Here thinking, what is a shark thinking when everyone's in a panic? Uh, Here's a cartoon just based on looking at my kids and thinking about, oh, what are they doing? How is that for them? What would that be like if I was in their shoes or in their whatever that those things are called? Um, Here's one, I don't know if you all experienced this around here. We got those lanternfly things. They tell us to kill these things on sight. Oh, that's so violent. How would you feel if someone was telling people you should be killed on sight? I tried to put myself in the lanternfly's perspective, and it took me to this gag. Um, Here's another gag. Just thinking through what is it like to not just to be a Russian doll, but to live your whole life, to live and die as a Russian doll. What happens after you die? How do they deal with the multiple versions of you? Again, it's a silly sort of empathy, maybe, but it's tapping into your empathy. Um, Here's one, everyone's talking about we want gluten-free stuff. Okay, but how does the gluten feel about that? I'd be kind of offended. And then the other half of the empathetic factor too is again going back to the restrictive nature of the form. You really have to put yourself in the shoes of your prospective reader because you can't always really spell out what you're trying to go for in this form. You don't have a lot of options. So you have to think through, have I given them all the ingredients they need to understand what I'm talking about, what the reference is, who these characters are. Okay, I want them to know it's a kitchen, so I'll use the iconography of like the poofy chef's hat. I can't draw gluten in a way that's instantly recognizable as gluten. There's no such thing as a gluten monster, so I need to explicitly say that in the caption. Got to just think through all the challenges a reader may have when they encounter this, and then above and beyond that, does this mean anything to them? Okay, I know I've been thinking about this because I hear people talk about gluten-free stuff, but is that on other people's radar too? Are they giving any attention to that? Is this going to resonate in them? Because when you do this successfully, it's really fun because you get a laugh or a smile out of it. And that's sort of the joy of this form. And even when you do it unsuccessfully, you get a laugh or a smile out of it, but you smile at yourself at this weird failure you may have made. But it's okay to fail sometimes because there's no stakes with these things. We're just having fun. So with all that said, want to start doing something? Let's start quickly just with a 1-minute warm-up. We're going to ease into the full drawing of a gag cartoon. Let's do a quick caption contest first. This is where I'm going to spot you the drawing, and I want you to come up with a caption for it. And you can put your caption in the chat. And here, I will put it here and give us about a minute to just come up and just whatever you see. So we got a coffin on a psychiatrist's couch. Psychiatrist or analyst is speaking. What would she be saying? What's going to bring some resolution to this silly image? Sort of grim image too. Maybe should have chosen a different one. Oh well. Now I'm catching up on the chat too. Gluten is a monster, yes. All right. Am I supposed to be timing this or someone else timing it? I'll time it. Let's give ourselves another 30 seconds. I'm a bad multitasker. All right, okay. We're already getting some captions in here. Okay, unfinished business. That's great. It's okay. Not everyone has to be the life of the party. Love the wordplay. You're depressed and not suffering an allergy. You're overthinking this fear of death thing. And how does that make you feel? That's great. The cliches of the psychiatrist. Say more about your fear of death. Oh, okay. How do you feel about parachutes now? Okay, that's taking it to a surprising place. That's funny. Exactly. Are you struggling to move on? I'm getting that sinking feeling again, Doc. Oh, I can't keep up with these, but these are fantastic. I encourage you to keep reading through. Don't listen to me. Just look at these things. Sometimes it's okay to feel empty. Great one, MK. Okay, so this one actually did run in the caption contest. And just so you can see, these were the finalists. Any final thoughts? You've achieved closure. Perhaps we should reduce the dosage. I like that last one the most. I like a lot of yours too. I like all of yours actually. I think they all could have won. I'm trying to remember the secret about the caption contest, by the way. These are cartoons we submit that have a caption and the editor just pulls them out and says, hey, let's let the audience choose one. I think my original caption was something like you've achieved closure. But anyway, okay. Now we're going to, we're really compressed. Okay, now we're going to move on, again, building up to the main event of a full gag. We're going to try a reverse caption contest. This time I'm going to show you a caption. I want you to try to come up with a scenario this could apply to. Give you, 2 minutes for this. That's not a lot of time to really draw up a scenario. You don't even have to draw it if you don't want, but I encourage you just think what situation could we apply this to? You can write that out in the chat. You can just think it in your mind, or, you can doodle. All right, so here's our reverse caption contest. Leave the bottle. Where does this take you? All right, I'm going to time, what did I say? 2 minutes. I'll be true to my word. Leave the bottle. What bottle? Who's leaving it? Who's saying it? These are the things you just sort of ask yourself and see where you go with it, see where it takes you.
And I'm timing, so.
Was that you, April?
Yeah. I'm timing to make your life a little bit easier.
Thank you. So many people, so many boxes on the Zoom. I can't find any. I already see some people have already put some things in there. Pile of pills and a bottle of vodka. Ooh. Take the cannoli, leave the bottle, take the cannoli, love the reference. Shelley, the tiny ship. Yeah, that's a funny place to take that. Message in a bottle or similar. Baby bottle, yeah, newborn baby trying to breastfeed. An AA meeting, but with baby bottles. That's kind of a fun flip of things. Impossible to leave a Klein bottle. Exercise in a cork. Yeah, you're letting your imagination just take you wherever you want.
Ben, that's time. It's April.
That's time. All right. We will not allow you to go a second over this. Pencils down. What do we got? Okay, we got someone, a genie bottle. Oh yeah, that I hadn't thought of that direction. Gangster stuffed animals. Does anyone, well, I should say, did anyone sketch anything out? You want to show us? Is that how this works? Should I stop my share for a second?
Yeah, if anyone would like to share, just use the hand raising. Oh, anyone who drew something who would like to share?
Wait, Liz is holding something.
Oh, Dakota has something. And I'm reminding that we have Dakota and Liz. And I'm reminding that when people are sharing, you can change your view to the speaker so you can see it much better.
Oh, I shared here. That was the beginning.
Is that a baby bottle?
They're all going to be sitting in a circle with like the 12 steps behind them, but they're babies anonymous, and they're all got their bottles.
Perfect. I love it. Baby's anonymous. That's great. Anyone else have anything they want to share?
I think Liz had something. Liz, do you still want to share?
I can't see. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not.
I think Susanna is trying to share.
But sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
What the first bit was just a brainstorm, like, the first idea, like a desert island kind of thing, which helped me get to I think, a stronger idea where a person's chatting to a friend saying our relationship seems so empty now, and there's the large bottle sort of coming into the situation with shock and abandonment.
Terrific. Love it.
Susanna, do you still want to share? Can you please unmute yourself?
And I can see, yeah.
Oh, another desert island. That's great. It's interesting too, seeing how we work on some parallel pathways. Sometimes we go towards the same thing, other times we'll go in a completely opposite direction. Just for closure, I can show you what my cartoon was for this. It's a big old thing of French fries. Wants the ketchup bottle. Hysterical. I know it's cold. Where do I come up with this stuff? So that's actually the next thing. Because now we're going to go to the main event, and I will try to very quickly just give you some tips for brainstorming, but I want you more to have time to draw because that's actually what this is about. Again, it is daunting to come up with ideas. Where do you get your ideas from? We just saw a couple of desert island cartoons, actually. So when you can't think of anything, tropes like that, like a desert island or the Grim Reaper, are a good place to go to just as a starting point. But mostly just try to draw it from your everyday life, words, phrases, behaviors, scenarios that stick in your mind. You can do something with any idea. Also, where some of us are visual artists here, you can also start with just what would you like to draw? I like to draw little weird things like piñatas, right? So I try to think of this as like I'm doing an experiment. What are the variables I can play with? And a piñata, well, there's the design of it, the stuffing of it, where we play with it, the props we use around it, So design, they're usually these donkeys. Well, what if it was a different animal? What if it was like a big blue whale and it was too big to even hang up? Or what if it was a little ant and everyone kept missing because it was small? Or the setting, what if instead of modern day at a party, we're in ancient Greece or something and it's a Trojan horse piñata or something? Or the props, we hit the piñata with a stick. Does the stick make me think of like the long scythe of the Grim Reaper? Maybe it's a Grim Reaper swatting at what kind of piñata would a Grim Reaper swat at? You got to sort of run into more questions that you have to answer to find a satisfying joke. Or a filling, they're full of candy. What happens if we do the opposite of what we expect? Instead of something sweet, something terrible, a bunch of bees came out, or acid. Why would that be happening? What if instead of sweet treats, it's like vegetables? Why would that happen? Maybe it's like a dentist party. That would be something. That's almost like a coherent idea. And then again, the empathy angle. Put yourself in the shoes of a piñata. What's it like for them? You go to a party, you see a piñata, it's a blast. For them, what's going to happen? They're going to get the crap beaten out of it. Party is a terrible thing for them. It's like a crime scene. And so going through this exercise took me to this. This is the piñata after the party, trying to get some justice here, because whatever. All right. I want to just quickly show you, this is my friend, the amazing cartoonist Drew Dernovich, once sort of tried to write out this associative creative process that we all go through. And you can just see, starts from a mundane topic like a boardroom meeting and just asks himself these same sort of questions. Where are they? Who's there? What's there? You can actually go through this exercise yourself or just go do it in your head. But you can start with any topic and you can get anywhere with it. Some of the roads will lead nowhere. Sometimes you'll get a ton of ideas just from one starting point. Take something as mundane, as boring as Zoom. I love being here on Zoom with you all, but I do not love being on Zoom in general. Spend too much of my time on it, but it has been the gift that's kept on giving in terms of cartoons, because every freaking angle of this thing, you can find some humor in it. From, that horribly awkward feeling when, you're waiting for everyone else to come in and you got to make the small talk, or you don't make, are you going to stay on mute? Are you have your camera off? Is that aggressive, or is that, a kind thing? I don't know. We've all made the jokes about being on mute. Okay, well, what scenario can we apply that to? Here's one, can you share my screen? Okay, where can we put that sort of everyday type of thing and make it a little sillier and a little fun? I think this is a law of Zoom. You can't end it till you're like, okay, bye. Give the little wave. Does anyone give the wave? Some people don't do the wave. I always give the wave. And then you got this one too. Some people are so quick at getting off of that Zoom. I don't know. Every single time I have to search out that button and click it. Some people just right away. Anyway, let's use the remaining time for me to stop talking at you and you to actually draw. So go to it. Let's make a gag cartoon. Start from anywhere. Okay, but just see where your mind takes you. If you need, a starting prompt, try a trope like Desert Island or the Grim Reaper, or, we're here for graphic medicine. Start with comics or with medicine, healthcare, but just start and let's go.
I am timing for 10 minutes. So we have 10 minutes to draw and then we'll share. That's the plan, right, Ben?
That's the plan, although 10 minutes takes us past 3 o'clock, so I want to be respectful of people's time. I will not be offended if you go, if you have to leave early. I also want to say too, this is a drawing exercise, but it doesn't have to be. It's just an imagination exercise. So just think through a gag, an idea for a gag, if you don't feel comfortable drawing it out. Just get the creative juices flowing. One wave hello, two-handed wave goodbye. Oh, is that Zoom etiquette? I didn't even know. I saw this comment from Matthew, potentially losing people in the transition between Zoom webinar and Zoom meeting. That is ripe for a cartoon. I wonder, is there anyone lost in like the Zoom no man's land right now, sort of trapped between Zoom dimensions? I hope they come join us. We've already got an idea shared. Jessica says, seeing a therapist because you always fail at proving you're not a robot. I gotta say, it is becoming harder and harder to prove you are not a robot. I don't know if you found this. These new things where you gotta like find all the bicycles. I, I, well, maybe I am a robot. I haven't even actually considered that, but I find it getting more and more challenging. Yeah, that's true too. Why is it always bicycles or traffic lights or buses sometimes? Train machine perception for free. That's true. Do you guys all like how I'm just sort of giving inane chatter while you're trying to draw and focus? This is my style. I run a lot of drawing groups like this, and I always like to do that because I feel like it gives you another extra challenge trying to focus and this guy's just talking at you. But you gotta find excitement where you can when you're a cartoonist, when you're an artist. It's also why I always recommend drawing with like a nice big mug or something, a drink, because you got that element of danger that you could just spill all over your work at any moment. Really, really feels good to live on the edge like that. Here's a asking a ghost, what do you feel, where do you feel that in your body? Yeah, how are they going to answer that? What is it like when a ghost goes to the doctor? Why would a ghost go to the doctor? I mean, they're dealing with some serious issues, right? Cartoonist version of living on the edge. Oh, Ian, someone told you to shut up once? That's unkind. Let me see if someone will tell me to shut up. I hope not, but it will be well earned at least.
I can be a stereotypical librarian and shush you, but if it'll make you feel better.
I've never been shushed by a librarian, let alone a stereotypical librarian. It would be an honor, Matthew. I guess I'll keep talking, and you're not going to do it? No, don't laugh at that. No, come on.
I gotta chime in on that because as a librarian, the only time I ever shushed anybody was when the other patrons came to me and said, "Would you please shush so-and-so on the second floor?"
And how did that make you feel? Was it like you were finally reaching your full librarian potential, or did this feel like a misuse of power?
It made me feel happy that the library was being used so much. I feel like a quiet library is an unutilized library. So if it's noisy, that's a good sign. And
like
what I
that
would
attitude.
do is I would go to every table and say, "We have had a request for more quiet in this area." And every single table would stare at the offending person, but I would never identify them or call them out. Their peers did that for them.
Nice.
And just to let you know that we are 7 minutes in.
7 minutes in of 10 minutes, right?
Yes.
So nothing like a deadline also to spur those creative juices. Spur the juices? That's not right, but you know what I mean. We got some more here. A bird perched and a bat hanging on a branch. Maybe you need a different perspective. Yeah. My idea is not drawn. A super cool teenager using a vape flavored lychee rainbow toxic poison bubblegum parade. Oh my gosh, that resonates. As the father of a 10-year-old, I could see that in her future. My God, if you made anything lychee flavored, she's going to try it. A librarian with a megaphone asking people to respect each other. Yeah, I mean, there is something inherently funny about how loud you have to be to successfully tell someone to be quiet. There's a ton of humor you can mine from that. One brief shining moment that was known as Zoom-a-lot. Group in lights armor around a round table. A woman with a clingy boyfriend telling a bystanding friend he's a rescue. Yeah, that's great. You know, take a familiar phrase or expression and apply it in an unfamiliar way. You know, a lot of these, you know, a lot of good gag cartooning, or at least starting out with it. You know, I mentioned doing these experiments, and there's sort of some consistent go-to experiments too. You know, like getting literal with something, exaggerating something, doing the inverse of something. You can get to a lot of comedy gold just sort of going through. It's not, you know, there's no real rules to it or clear best practices, but there are some sort of things that typically tend to work that you can tend to go to. I can't make this true story funny, but trying to. Pockets inside out holding a note demanding 40% more cash on side from the landlord. Landlord in her hammock with the backdrop of her estate saying, "I'm on a fixed income too." I think there's something, but just someone, you know, just the idea of, you know, the sort of life of ease on the hammock, but still complaining about the income. There's inherent comedy there, and that's where you might want to exaggerate more. It's not just maybe she's on the hammock, maybe, you know, just on you know, a royal throne, and, you know, like a really exaggerated mansion, palace type of place. I don't know. could be something else.
And it's time.
It's time. All right. So we've seen a bunch of outstanding ones just sort of described in the chat, but does anyone want to show something that they drew, or even just sort of talk through an idea you didn't feel like typing out?
Please feel free to use the share button. Raise your hand. Liz, go ahead, please. I see Liz, and then Judith, please. Liz, go ahead.
Cool. I'm figuring out how to share. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Okay. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I've got a goat at a bar that says, "Oh man, you should see the other guy." And at the bottom it says, "One goat will be sacrificed, the other will be driven into the wilderness." Leviticus-ish.
That's terrific. I love that. I love you brought in the multimedia aspect too with the goat. And also, I feel like you should see the other guy. That's great for like a reverse caption contest too, because I bet you could go in a lot of different ways and have "you should see the other guy." Terrific.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to do that to my patrons. That's brilliant. And yeah, now you've seen my process. I use photo references sometimes. It's going to be drawn up.
Use it all the time. Photo references are great. All right, who else we got?
Next, we have Judith.
Ben, I wanted to jump in for a moment just to note that our ASL interpreters are still with us, but we're only booked until 3 o'clock. So if we need to relieve them, that would be completely understandable.
Thank you, Barbara. I think, April, what do you think? I think you're relieved, right?
Yeah, I would say
appreciate your
that
time here.
next couple of minutes we should wrap up. I see Judith's hand is up. I want to respect people's time on a Saturday, and for some people it's evening. So I see Judith's and Elizabeth's hand. So why don't we take those and then we can wrap it up.
Hi. Who's going first?
Judith, you are first.
Okay. How do I do this? Do I have to share or am I shared automatically?
If you hold your paper up a little higher, we should be able to see it.
I can't see me, so I can't see what you could see. I went with the online Zoom thing. It's a close-up of a face with a finger and a nose. And it's saying someone forgot they're on Zoom, which is unfortunately something that happens quite often. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You can see it or not.
We can, if you raise it a little higher, we can see the drawing, but if you raise it a little higher, we can see the text under it too, or at least I can. Yeah, look at that. Great drawing too. Great cropping of the figure, just getting the important part.
I enjoyed this a lot. Take care.
Okay.
Elizabeth, go ahead, please.
Okay. People at dinner and they've got bones on their plates and the dog is serving the bones and the dog says, "I thought you wanted me to take a turn making supper."
Fantastic. Of course a dog would serve bones for supper. That's exactly what they would do. And great clear scene too. You got all the ingredients you need right there. You did that in 10 minutes. How awesome is that? All right. So do we want to call it there?
Yeah, yes, please. Many thanks to Ben for helping us host this drawing together. We are, as you have been hearing, we would like you, if possible, to donate to us as well, Matthew, or one of the board members, if you can just post the link again. Many thanks. Oh, great. Thank you very much. And again, if you would like to join the future Drawing Together session, please visit our website and contact MK. We have one tomorrow and we host them every last Sunday of the month. Again, thanks very much for the organizing committee for this wonderful event and for all of you for joining us. It's so lovely to see you all. Please take care.
Thank you, everyone.